Oh, do
All right, everyone. It is December 3rd, and 6:05 p.m. Thanks everyone for being here tonight. This is just a regular meeting, even though it is off our regular schedule. I think we just wanted to touch base before the board meeting from the Dam Commission tomorrow, right? That's tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah. Just touch base about that. Our previous meeting, we talked a lot about that change in water level order that we had discussed last week. Primarily just pretty much moving it from actually, sorry, I just want to missay what I'm saying here. That would be to move it to have it open all the way through June, correct? Of 2025.
What is your question again?
The sorry, the water change request. I apologize. I've been up since like 4 in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, they wanted to move it from June 1st to April 15th.
Yeah. Yeah. To give all of those stream restoration projects and remediation projects time to operate. I know I texted some of you yesterday, just wondering for updates, but just curious if the board has kind of reached any consensus, if you guys have done any other outreach to other groups or anything like that, or I guess what's the general feeling? I haven't heard back from Casey at all. I don't know if any of you guys have about some of the questions that people had.
I haven't.
Oh.
I have.
We're going to be deciding tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
The date is April 15th to open the dam?
Yeah.
Correct.
Before April 15th.
Correct.
So do we just never close the dam? Or
It's closed right now.
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
Still water
no,
flowing
it's,
out
it's closed
today.
now. Whatever it fills up over the
partially
winter.
closed.
Yeah, whatever it fills up over the winter from runoff and everything will be there for people that may want to ice fish and things. But as Dan said, we're probably gonna have to open it before April 15th because the way the request or the rules are set is the water level cannot change between April 15th and July 1st due to the wading bird nesting.
June 1st.
Okay. I thought it was July 1st. But so yes, we may have to open it before then, so the water is down by April 15th. So the water level does not change after April 15th.
Well, that's the way I read it, Gary.
I didn't understand it to be that. I thought we opened on the 15th. If that's what we agreed to.
The way I read it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna look for some clarification from Casey
From
as to
Casey
what the exact verbiage is, but and again, it's how you interpret the verbiage, but I think the order says that you cannot change the water level between April 15th and July 1st.
Yeah.
That being said, if the dam was to be open, that's not changing the water level if there's water spilling over the dam. We've set the water level, so I think we just need some clarification with Casey for that. But I believe the intention is to open it on or directly before April 15th.
Yeah, I'm reading his email now, the corrected one that he had sent previously before our meeting. And it's to begin the drawdown on or before April 15th, because between April 15th and he does say July 1st.
Thought it was July, yeah.
Yeah, is
Okay.
like that's when the waterfowls are nesting. So assuming like you can't change that water level intentionally then. So that's why
intentionally, but like I said, if the dam was opened on April 14th,
yeah,
and if it rained or not, we're not changing the water level. The water just has not drained down to the bottom of the dam at that point.
Yeah.
I believe only my interpretation, and this is not my forte.
Okay. I do see some newer or people who weren't here previously last time. Is there anybody that would like to voice their opinion on this? We did have Casey last time here from the Maine Department of Marine Resources who spoke a lot about this. We did ask him some follow-up questions that I don't think I've heard back on, but maybe you at the Dam Commission will hear back on those things tomorrow night.
I've got some questions for him tomorrow night,
Okay, cool. Yeah.
just to clarify this.
Yeah.
Is he coming?
I believe so.
Because Joe's
I
not.
I talked to JD today, and he's on the impression that Casey is coming tomorrow.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
If we open the dam sooner, does that mean we get to start construction on it sooner too?
Yes.
Yes, and that was one thing at the bid meeting we had with all the contractors, and I forget the exact number off the top of my head, but there was somewhere between, I think, 9 and 11 or 9 and 12 different companies that came to bid on the job. There were
Oh,
probably,
excellent.
yeah,
Good.
it was very encouraging, but I would say there was probably 25% of them that were apprehensive about putting a bid in because they felt the timeline was very constrictive. You
Yeah.
know, trying to start on the old timetable, you know, trying to start mid to end of August and be done by November was kind of a tight timetable. Some of the things they pointed out, you know, the gates take 9 months to get, you know, for ordering the gates. Some of the other specialty equipment, you know, it has a long lead time. So we should get more bids, which means we should get better pricing by having a bigger construction window.
Cool.
And to answer your question, I asked that specific question, if we start early, will we end early? No. It just means they're not going to put in as much overtime and they're going to work, you know, slower and get the job done. But at least we're more assured that we will be done in 25 and we won't be carrying over to 26 if there's some sort of, you know, if it rains all summer, or if, again, if, you know, the gates take 12 months to get, not 9 months to get, or whatever that piece of part is that we need to finish the project.
Okay.
Cool.
Any other questions from anybody attending that they want to have answered or are curious about?
So on July 1st, we would draw down the lake again?
No,
No,
April 15th.
Well, it's one
So
of
it's
the
going to
other.
be,
The lake's going to be dry if we do what they're asking for all next summer, all spring.
it'll be at the level it's at right now. Well, a little bit lower than what it's at right now all next year.
Yeah.
and that will accommodate the fowl, the birds?
Yes.
Correct.
From my understanding, or from what I remember from what Casey had said, it's essentially making sure that they don't nest there
Mm-hmm.
specifically, and so they would kind of like avoid that area this season or this next season and then come back the next season. But like to interrupt it halfway through and open it anytime between April 1st and July 1st would interrupt their breeding season. So that's why they are saying we have to either do it before or after July 1st.
See, my biggest fear, Gary, is like you said at that meeting with the contractors, a few of them did voice concern about the timeline or the constraints of the timeline. And so my concern is if we don't do it and it goes into 2026, we lose the lake for 2 years.
Mhm.
So, you know, I'd prefer to get it all done. If we're going to scrap a year, okay, or a season, but to scrap 2 because we started too late, that's hard to take.
And just for everybody listening, that's if you were to choose to open it up on after July 1st instead of earlier.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about some marketing or PR, essentially letting everybody know, like going to the news organizations and being like, don't come here, the boat launch doesn't work. You know, I mean, I think it might interrupt a lot of other people outside of this lake. So, like, are we gonna tell people this? Like,
Yeah, I mean, again,
Great
the
question.
decision's being made tomorrow night, so a decision has to be made before we can tell people. But yes, the intent was to notify, Jack's Traps and whoever, the other bait stores and social media, and let people know that, yes, don't drive 4 hours here to
right.
go pike fishing because you can't get your boat in the water. Correct. Again, there's no way to reach everyone, but that's why we're at this meeting tonight.
I'm
Uh,
surprised how many people around the pond don't even know what's going on. They're asking questions on Facebook.
Oh no.
Yeah, and they're getting incorrect answers.
Yes.
No way. On Facebook?
Yeah. Which is wild because we record these and upload these so people could watch them afterwards.
People aren't paying attention.
I think they're just asking for clarification.
Yeah.
They got a lot of questions and they just want to be clear about what's going on.
Yes, but they're getting wrong answers.
Right. They're not, where I've seen the misinformation is on the green Facebook page, not the Sabattus, not the commission, this one. It's so, yeah, once the decision is made and it's something we can flood at least the green Facebook page with just, the copy and paste from, something official or whatever, quote unquote official. That will at least help a little bit get the word out.
Yeah.
Has anybody got any idea about whether or not there could be any positive impact on the algae situation if we did keep it low for 2 years? Or would it affect the algae? The
No.
growth? You don't think it's
No.
I mean, I don't specifically know. I could see some argument made for both ways. I know Casey said he was going to talk to a specialist in within the state that he knows that was gonna ask that question, but like I said, I have not heard a response back from him yet. My my thought process for what I know and what I've learned about algae blooms is that that concentration of phosphorus is still within the soil in the lake bed. Less water means that there's, potentially more potent algae could pop up in pools of water around the lake. But like I said, that's just my first inclination.
And then, Nick, when you rehydrate all of that soil that's exposed, that automatically triggers the phosphorus to release. After you dry it out, dry the soils out, the phosphorus is locked in it. When you rehydrate, the phosphorus releases from the soils.
Yeah.
So that'll actually make the algae worse the first year.
That's certainly a question I would like answered if possible, if Casey has it. And Dan, I hope you ask it tomorrow if possible, because I'm not entirely sure about that process of the hydration and then the dehydration and then rehydration. So, but definitely, I think a lot of the questions that we had talked about and asked about were related to algae, environmental factors like the animals and stuff like that, and of course the human and social factor of people potentially losing water to their camps and stuff like that. I don't know if has the Dam Commission looked into that specific number or anything like that. I know there's been some discussion about it online, and we had some discussion about it last meeting. I think it's probably like when the decision is made, I'd like to definitely maybe try to see if something can get put into place to, try to connect those people with neighbors that could potentially help to try to really reduce the impact on people with those types of camps.
Because for what it's worth, Nick, our water is down, or the lake is down as it is. We've only got a driven point for a well, and we still have water.
Okay.
For what it's worth.
Good.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think that if the decision was made to leave it open or open it on April 15th, that we could get a list from the towns of, Sabattus, Wales and Green, who's paying waterfront taxes, and contact them and just let them know what's going to go on and possible ramifications. Because it won't impact anyone as far as water goes. It's outside of, it's not directly on the water.
Yeah, and all Sabattus camps should be on municipal water too, right?
Yes.
Are they all on town water? I thought it was just sewer they were mandated. No?
Not all on town water.
Oh, okay.
I did not think all of Sabattus was on town water. So again, we could get just a blanket list of everyone that's paying waterfront taxes and send out a notice to them about the lake level.
Where are they not on town water?
But
I'm
everyone
not,
is on town sewer.
I believe that whoever's on sewer is also on water.
negative. We are not. We're on a driven point. We are on city sewer.
I think you had the option, you could get it, but if you didn't have to, if you didn't want to, you didn't want to pay the fee for the water. I don't think it was mandated like the sewer was mandated.
The sewer was mandated if the sewer line went by your house.
Correct.
You did not have to hook up to it, but you would charge for it.
Yes, you'd be crazy not to hook up.
Yeah.
Right, but you had the option not to hook up. But if it went by your house, you were charged anyway, whether or not you were hooked up. That was back in '82 when they instituted the sewer system.
Yeah, no.
And I think everybody, or just about everybody, hooked up.
I need to look into what the cost factor is to hook up to the water. Because I'm thinking that if they charge your sewer bill based on your water bill, my sewer bill would go down drastically. So I need to look into what the cost factor is to try to hook up to town water.
Does
Anybody
the
know?
water go by your house?
I don't know. I
It
got it
must.
on F Sanborn Road. We've got sewer, so I don't know if we have water or not.
I don't know if the people across the street does.
I've got to find out.
I don't think they have a specific website, but they yeah, it's on Sabattus's website, Ken.
As far as where the water lines go.
Yeah.
No, well, maybe it's buried deep somewhere there, but their contact information is there.
Yeah.
Or at least one person's contact information is there.
Is that Paul Morin?
No, it looks like the only accessible person for that is Mark Duquette's and Rick Lacombe's.
Okay. Yeah, they both work for the sewer and water department.
Yeah.
What did it cost, Dan, when you did it?
I don't know. I don't know.
And I'm sending a link in the chat that might help.
Okay.
I'm just wondering because where I live here, when they mandated it, it was 17,000, and now for newcomers it's 30,000 to hook up to water and sewer.
Yeah, it says anybody who's within the district or within the designated sewer district and can hook up is required to hook up.
Yeah.
For sewer. So
For sewer, yes. Yeah, because the water came through in like 70, 71, maybe 72. But the sewer didn't come through until 82.
okay. Anything else before we do this, or before we touch on a couple other things, or I don't, is it too presumptuous to ask how each of you guys are thinking about voting, or are you just waiting for more information tomorrow?
That's a tough choice because, as the two other members know, that I voted against any of Casey's requests to change our procedure.
Okay.
because there was no benefit to the towns, the lake. This time, it's different. There's benefit to the lake.
Yeah, and I think throughout this process, and I kind of touched upon this last time, we've really tried to like highlight like a very like top overview perspective of our environment and where we live, and all the things around us and how they impact us. Making or doing this change for a year, when it only would give us an additional 2 or 3 months of potential recreational activity to potentially have all of these other projects done, to help benefit the area too. Would certainly be advantageous to everybody in the area, not just the lake, but downstream too. So interested to see how it will go tomorrow. I think some of our members and stuff will be there as well. So looking
One
forward
other
to-
thing, Nick, that
Yeah.
as a group, we've tried to profess to everybody to play nice.
Mhm.
And this is our chance to play nice. If we, get everything done together, that seems to be a big benefit.
Yeah. Just from a planning and administrative perspective too, it definitely seems like the organization of like trying to get all of those other projects to work in conjunction. And from my understanding, our like passing of the dam project and doing that this year was the thing that potentially could have bumped those other projects that were already in existence down the line. Is that right?
Yes.
From my understanding? Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
And if we bump them, it may take years for them to get back into it.
Yeah.
Because they've got the funding, everything is basically tied into this project.
That's what Casey was trying to get across at the last meeting.
Right.
It's all tied together and really should flow together.
Right.
I mean, I think
And like I say, we've been professing to everybody to play nice. I think this may be our chance to play nice.
I am inclined to agree, Ken.
Well, what is everybody's take on it? What would you do?
I think that's a more important question, Dan. Yes. So I've reached out to the board of directors at my road association, friends, neighbors, so on and so forth. And I guess the best way I can put it is have not heard any dissent, if you will. Mainly heard, the greater good. It's one season, get it all done, bite the bullet. But the reason we're here, the reason this was brought to your attention was to get your feedback. So from who's here today, what are your opinions? Quickly, yes or no. I mean, not to draw this on. And so we have one yes.
So I guess my opinion is that when July 1st, yeah, that makes sense. Then I heard June 1st, and my first impression was, great, so all the birds are just going to lay their eggs and then we're going to cut away all their water. And I'm like, that's weird. So now at this meeting, I hear that it's April 15th. So to me, it makes more sense than June 1st. I guess for the same reasons we all had. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's not ideal, but it's going to happen at some point. So might as well just make it happen.
Mhm.
Casey was there at the meeting for the solar in Green a couple of weeks ago, and he put it out there and that was a big crowd. And he really, from what I saw, there was no negative feedback from that. So that was a little encouraging if you wanted to open it on the 15th. That was one of his things that he wanted to do, is put it out there, and that was a big crowd. So you got all the people from Green anyway, so that lived on the lake. And they had a few questions, but they weren't complaining.
For what it's worth, my neighbor's already told me he's not planning to put his boat in at all next year because he's got things going on during the summer anyway.
Mhm.
And there may be a lot of other people that just, my little boat will probably stay in the basement all next year. I might put the party boat in, but if there's no water, then oh well. But, you know, my thought is to, let's get it done.
After our
Well-
previous meeting, and some people watched the recordings, I did receive some emails from people in support of doing it all at once as well for the April 15th.
Well, I'd rather sacrifice one season than run the risk of sacrificing a second or not doing it and run the risk of the state telling us to open the gates and leave them open.
Oh, I agree.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Justin is joining. Great. I'll leave some space for Justin. Hey, Justin.
Hey, everybody. Good evening. Sorry we're a little bit late. The Tuesday night kind of threw us off. So,
Yeah, no worries. I think we just wanted to touch base before the dam commission meeting tomorrow. But they had just asked everybody's pulse check on everything. I just wanted to give you space to talk about your perspective on it as well, if you wanted to share that with them.
wow, you're putting me right on the spot.
I
for the-
know. Sorry, you don't have
Well,
to
you're
right
late.
now. It's okay.
Am I late or am I just 36 hours early? Because we usually do this on Wednesday.
That's very fair.
Leslie's here as well. I guess the I know we talked about this at one of our last meetings that we had. I don't know. I mean, I have certain thoughts. I know Leslie has certain thoughts. She's here with me as well. I don't know. Are you guys looking for my opinion? I'm sure everybody else has already shared theirs.
What's
Yeah.
the pulse check?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was majority. If they had the choice, the majority was yeses. Honestly, I would have liked the more information from Casey. I hope he is able to provide some more tomorrow. From everything that I understand about this right now, I would also say yes if I had that choice. But I would like everyone to share their opinion, of course.
Awkward silence. Okay, I'll share my opinion. I think my strongest opinion is I appreciate the dam commission coming to us to get a pulse check. But I said this at the last meeting, and I want to make it very clear that whatever decision is made, whether it's to open it at the original time that was told us in July after the 4th, or in the springtime to accommodate the downstream work, I want the dam commission solely to make that decision. I don't want them influenced by us one way or the other, or to say that the Sabattus Pond watershed wanted it open and get bad reactions to us, because it's not our decision. Ultimately, it's their decision. And quite frankly, I think it's an impossible decision to make. And I think it's I think it's a hard decision. And I see Dan on the screen now. I feel bad for the dam commission, honestly, with being in the position to have to make this, where they told everybody that it was going to be done after July 4th and we could salvage a little bit of the summer. And then to turn around and lose the whole summer. That's hard. And I don't want them to feel anger from anybody if we lose a whole summer. I know there's already been issues. People have been talking on community forums around the lake. They've lost water. People are saying it's due to the lack of rain. It's due to the level of the lake. It's an impossible decision, and I don't envy them for having to make that decision.
And before you got on, they did say that Casey did go to the dam meeting and talk there. I think you were at that meeting, or talk about that decision. They did say that they were also reaching out to their other community groups in the area too, and asking, their opinions and stuff.
Yeah, so at the solar panel meeting, Casey did come to the solar panel meeting, and it was, I'm sure everybody saw it online. It was extremely well attended. There had to be 500 people there in green, and he did get the opportunity to speak before the vote while they were still registering voters in green. It was honestly kind of non-committal. Nobody really had anything positive or negative to say about opening it sooner. Some of the questions were just about where was the work in Lisbon, the scope of the work, how long has that project been in place? How low would the lake level be, what its current level is, or would it get any lower next year, that sort of thing. And that was pretty much it from the Greentown meeting. But that was I think as far as a group goes, that was the biggest litmus test because there were such a vast amount of people there. And I know it's only one of the 3 communities on the lake, but it was a pretty good barometer, I guess, as far as consensus. So.
Okay. All right. I guess we will see how it plays out tomorrow. I look forward to hearing what happens. Any other concerns anybody wants to talk about specific to this subject, or are we good to move on to something else real quick?
I just can't let it go without saying we are house divided. I'm feeling pretty strongly that we had a plan, and I haven't seen enough or done enough research on the data to know like really how this affects the other project. And I'm feeling like there will be some fallout and we will take a hit. And I'm concerned around all the work we did to support it based on the information we had at the time. And so I feel like there's going to be some backlash on this if they vote to keep it down. And we voted for one thing and we're getting something else.
Completely valid and understandable.
And there are going to be some loud voices, and those are going to be the unhappy voices. And I think it will have, I don't know if we need like not a marketing plan, but some sort of communication strategy for the Sabattus Pond Watershed project around how we want to prepare to either distance ourselves or align with the decision. And I think it's out of my scope of expertise, but there could be some strategy there. And anyone else who has, a plan on comms, like in communications specialists in the room who can kind of help think about what that might mean and kind of redirecting any online chatter that makes it look like a negative. I worry that we're going to get a lot of traffic.
I think, yeah, we would be the damn commission. And I think probably the best strategy, would be positives. I mean, we asked for $400,000 and it should cost the towns less than 40. So, I mean, I would go with the positives, and the cleanup down the river, the additional fishway they're putting in. I mean, I think there's a lot of positives that would offset any of the negatives. Because when you really look at it, we're talking about April to July 1st. I'm fairly avid on this lake, if anyone doesn't know. Most people don't put their docks in until Memorial Day. Most people don't put their boats in until July 4th or get in the water. So we're not talking about taking away any time that people would have had in the water. So again, I think look at the positives instead of, there's always going to be naysayers, but I think we can address their concerns as they come up.
I think it's just, I think what she's saying is just the recognition of like trade-offs, like which there certainly will be, regardless of like, even if the benefits do outweigh the negatives, there are certainly trade-offs in every decision that's ever going to be made. If Leslie, if you want to talk about comms things, we can certainly do that as well. I mean, I have not seen anything directed specifically at our group, and I honestly do feel a little bit more comfortable that more of a wider like net has been cast in trying to form opinions on or trying to gauge opinions on like how this should go. But I definitely do understand your concern because stuff does spiral very quickly on Facebook and social media and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's what's in it for me, right? There's a change. Now we need to someone needs to explain the context and own, the bigger picture. And that can be a hard sell sometimes.
It certainly can be. I don't think you guys were on yet, but just like I said before, I really do think that one of the biggest successes that we've had with this group has been really trying to like discuss and show our communities in which we live as like this very big systematic, like interconnected thing. And, I think really the benefit of like all of these projects being done at once represent, like I think he said, over like an $11 million investment in the area, in our area, and then like directly downstream of us, which is honestly a huge win, considering that last year, not all of that was possible or going to happen. But definitely recognize the concern, and I do share some of them too. So.
Well, at the contractors walkthrough, Gary had said there's a few of the contractors were concerned about the timeline. And
about the shortened timeline, yeah. About the original
timeline that we originally proposed. And if they can't make, so say we go to July 1st and they can't make it to finish the dam, they would have to come back next year and then we'd lose another year.
I would say it's important. Yeah, it's important to recognize that it would have increased the complexity of whatever contractor did it. Whether or not like they wouldn't have been able to finish it at all is like unknown, I would say. But yeah, certainly like an important aspect in a way.
Another factor that we talked about at the last meeting is weather. They can't always work. They're going to have rainy days.
Yes.
And we could possibly have a massive rain this spring that raises the water level up beyond our control. And would they be able to start? These are all weather related items.
These are all concerns that we have to take into our decisions.
Yeah, well, especially whereas we've got a hard deadline on the other end. We're going to be out by November 1st. So if we're out by October 1st, that's great.
Yep.
We get it done.
Yeah, if we get it done and we're out by October 1st, then we can start bringing the water back up. Because remember, this lake depends on snow melt and spring rains to fill. And so we have to be able to close the dam in at least November.
What are you expecting? What do you expect as far as the water level to do over the next couple of months? Do you expect it's going to come back to normal winter level?
We're hoping it might. It's been dry.
Yeah.
I mean, October has been extremely dry. So has November.
Well, my primary concern is whether I need to pull my dock. I haven't pulled it yet, but if the ice is too close to it, it'll put it up on shore.
Yeah. Well, I would
I don't think that we can. I don't think that we can comment on what the water's going to do with the ice.
Just looking for an opinion.
No. I appreciate that, but yeah, I
can give you my opinion.
You want to talk about people getting upset at you? Tell them to leave their dock in, and it ends up in their front yard.
No, look.
That's totally my choice.
I'd take my dock out every year
Yep.
religiously. I will not leave it because if I leave it, I may lose it.
Yeah,
I might get lucky.
I left mine 1 year, and that was the year the ice came in and broke all the legs.
Yeah.
So yeah, but again, everyone does do whatever. Yep. And I believe, and again, no quote, I believe that every dock has to move every 10 months. Otherwise, it's considered a permanent structure, and you need a permit from the DEP. I believe you may want to look into that, just as far as your local codes or whatever else.
It can be in the water for 7 months.
7 months. Okay.
So it has to be removed. But yes, it has to be removed every year, or else it's a permanent structure.
Yeah, it's an in
right. And you got to get permits to put it in.
Yeah.
Sure. Any other comments on this from the people who are here in attendance? Yeah, Leslie, Justin.
Sorry, just had a question, and I don't know if the dam commission members, I thought I heard some discussions about potentially having the meeting tomorrow night broadcast, because I know there's a lot of interest in that. Is that going to happen? Do you guys know for tomorrow's meeting?
I have not heard from Eric. I believe
I talked to JD this afternoon and he said no.
he did. Okay, so they may not have been able to set it up. I'm not sure. I have not heard. The only thing I had heard, was one time they said it was going to get broadcast.
Anybody got a laptop there that they're gonna bring? I can give you my login.
Well, I was going to say we did that for the informational meetings. I did the Wales and Sabattus town meetings. I can do that again on the laptop through this platform like we did last time, if that's something we want to do, and the dam commission will allow it.
It is a public meeting, but yeah.
It's a public meeting.
Okay, yeah, Nick, you and I can talk offline and we can get that up again and then put that out and I can broadcast
And I
it.
think, and again, I think the importance of doing it on the public meetings was so people could look at it before there was a vote on it. And we're voting tomorrow night. So
Yeah, but I
it might be good to put it out afterwards, but it's not like we're gonna have the meeting and then we're gonna wait for a month for public, response.
But I mean, I think just to have, honestly, I think everybody knows my opinion on like live streaming and recording public meetings is 100% a necessity in the world that we live in now. But it's something that we can do and we can offer. We can record it and upload it afterwards too. I would like the dam commission to be okay with it, but again, it also is a public meeting, and I know our membership is very interested in not necessarily how every individual person votes or that type of stuff, but just to be informed and to know what happens and goes on. I think that's just pretty basic. It's to perpetuate the future engagement of people too. Because we are dealing with 3 different communities here. Some of them record and upload meetings, some of them don't. So when we have our meetings, record and upload them, talk about all these things that happened, off screen or in other ways, it gets kind of there's a loss of engagement there that might not extend, that might help in not perpetuating some of that stuff that we see online, especially, when that information is readily available. I know a lot of people who at least talk about our meetings and watch them after the fact, listen to them while they're driving and stuff like that. Not watching, but just listening, at a radio station. People are able to do those things when they're doing other things in the busy world that we live. So yeah, we can talk more about that offline, Justin. But.
May I ask a question?
Of course.
So in the beginning, when we were deciding to fix the dam, we had set a timeline, obviously, that if we drained on July the 1st, that there would be enough time to finish it by November 1st. And then now they're pushing it back. Are we pushing it back because of these other projects farther down? Is that the pushback? Because it seems like these contractors that you talked about, that came to look at the dam, some of them obviously felt that they could finish it from, if we drained in July, so they could start in August, that they could finish it by November.
Yeah, I don't have the paperwork in front of me, but I believe that we had originally said, you may have it, but I believe we had said we were going to start drawing it down on June 1st, which would mean there would still be enough water in the lake for July 4th for people to enjoy that weekend. Is that not correct, Dan? No. I believe we were going to do June 1st, and then we found out from Casey that, with this other project downstream, that according to whatever agency it was, that you cannot change the water level from April 15th to July 1st.
Well, we just found out.
Correct. So our original target date was June 1st, correct?
No, our original target date was the day after the 4th of July.
Right. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I stand corrected.
Because we were given estimates that contractors could get it done in that time. But we weren't given that by the contractor or by a contractor. That was the engineer who thought that it could be done. But when you talk to the contractors who are actually doing the work,
Whole different story.
Okay, that's different. That's different. Yeah. So you have an engineer that felt it could be done, and an actual contractor that does the work that feels I'm going to need some more time.
yes.
You have to remember, engineers live in a perfect world. That's just the way they think.
Everything is possible on paper.
Right. But then we come back to the weather.
You come back to a lot of things. I mean, the weather's is huge because if it's raining, you really don't pour cement and you don't do much work when you're outdoors. And all of the work is outdoors.
But yes, Diane, it would benefit the additional projects that are going to be downstream.
Okay, I just have a quick question since Ken mentioned it, that he has a point well, which is something I have in the past. You know, I've shut the well down because of the cold weather coming up. So I have no idea how long I'm going to be able to pump any water or any water at all to my camp this year, because I got to come up almost 100 feet to the camp because of the hill. So I'm just curious, Ken, do you know how deep your point well is?
I do not. I
No.
don't know how deep it is, but I'm guessing it's less than 20 feet. And we're not very high off the water, but the water's probably 500 feet out from my shoreline because we're really shallow on the water side.
Gotcha.
So with the water level, I would estimate is 7 or 8 feet lower than what I normally see. But I don't know if I didn't put the point in, so I don't know. But I'm guessing a point is probably no more than 15 or 20 feet down.
Yeah, that's about all I think mine is too. Okay.
Okay. And Justin, go for it.
Sorry. So this is specifically to Diane, who just asked the question, and I know that people watch this. I believe Casey did say at the contractor walkthrough that he had heard a lot of concerns about the level of water and people drawing water from the lake, non-potable uses for their camps. And he said maybe that he could try to find some money for extending hoses to go out into the water for that. And I think I saw Sharon on here from the town office. I remember her saying that people were welcome to use facilities at the Walestown office for showers and stuff like that. If they did have a seasonal camp, I'm not sure if she can correct me on that if I'm wrong or not, but you know, I do feel bad. We have neighbors on our road that draw non-potable water from the lake, and they're not going to be able to reach with their hoses. Point Well's a little bit different, I know that, but it did seem, Dan, do you remember him or Lou or Gary from that day down at the contractor walkthrough talking about that when we were standing around? Casey?
I don't.
I don't remember it, Justin.
I don't either.
Okay.
Well, whatever does end up by happening for the way of the vote, I would definitely like to know specifically what is going to be done about that type of stuff for the people who potentially might lose water. And I can definitely volunteer any of my services to try to help facilitate any.
What was Justin's question?
I think he was just making a clarification. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Justin.
Justin, what were you wondering from Sharon, whether or not the community facilities are available? Was that your question? I'm not sure what you were wondering about.
No, so Sharon, I thought Sharon said that people could use the Walestown office because
Yes,
there
I
are
saw that.
water facilities there where people could take showers if they needed. And now that I'm remembering, it might not have been at the dam contractor meeting. It might have been at the Greentown meeting where Casey and I had that conversation about him trying to maybe find some resources to help people extend stuff out into the water to draw non-potable water from the lake.
Sharon did say that the facilities were available. It may have even been in response to Diane's concerns.
I think
But-
she said it at our last meeting we had. She mentioned something or wrote it in the question area that,
Yeah.
you know, the town hall.
Yeah.
It's summertime. It's called stand outside with, you know, with a bucket. I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. I just, you know, I travel quite a distance to get there every summer, so it's whether it's gonna be cost efficient for me to travel all that far and then find out I can't really use my camp and have to turn around and travel back home, because I come all the way from Arizona, so it's an expense for me, and I travel across country every year. I don't fly out. I travel with a travel trailer, so, yeah. So
And
I
Diane,
could
I just
always
wanna-
go camping.
And Diane, I just want to say your concerns are very valid and completely heard. Like, just because you don't mind standing outside in the summer collecting water doesn't mean you should have to. So, I'm sure this is a great community, and I'm sure there's something that can be found to try to facilitate some type of solution in the meantime. So,
Well, she knows she has me that can help her, but that gets old, I'm sure, Diane. I mean, she can use my hose. We've already established that, but one summer maybe, but 2 summers probably seems really difficult.
Wouldn't the fire stations all have places for showers?
That just does not appeal.
I mean, if you're desperate.
How many people would be desperate? I mean, how many camps are going to be inconvenienced to this extent? Do you have any idea?
Oh, yes.
It's an unknown factor because we don't know how many people are drawing water off the lake.
yeah, this
I'm
is
starting to think it's not many for some reason.
this is the type of information that is good to collect and have. So, for if things like this in the future definitely do happen, we know these numbers. So, I mean,
Gary's always got the statistics on how many people are on a lake. It's Gary. Are you still on, Gary?
I am.
Okay. How many people live on the lake?
I don't have it in
300?
front of me. 300, yeah, 300 more or less. Yeah.
Okay. Have you any
That's all.
sense as to how many get their water from the lake? Are those 300?
Probably around 180 or so.
Oh, that is a lot.
What?
Yeah, half the properties are probably in Green and Wales.
Are you saying they draft it from the lake?
Well, I'm sorry. I spoke wrong. That have private wells, but from the lake, no, we don't know. See, there's 180 houses. Half of those may be year round, and then half of the seasonals may have drilled wells or dug wells. They don't have stake points, so they're not going to run out of water. So no, we don't have any idea. We have no idea at all. Just guesses.
I mean, would you have an idea by looking right now while there's a beach at all the black plastic hoses that go out to the water?
There you go, Gary. You could take a walk around the lake and look for the black
Oh,
plastic hoses.
oh God, believe me, I've walked around the lake. Yeah,
It's for somebody to get out there and go for a ride.
Save it for another meeting, but yeah, no, there are no black hoses. But there are definite signs of where water goes out into the lake. So yes, no, there are no black hoses to extend. I'm sorry. I think there was one over by Justin's house just for a couple days. Might have been someone just staying there for a few days. So no, again, we don't know if this is going to be an issue at all. It's just being brought up. You know, we don't know if it, you know, the water is going to be down 6 feet lower than it normally is at this level. So if you have even if you have a driven well and it's at the water's edge that goes down 20 feet, you're still 14 feet above the, you know, the water table, if you will. So theoretically, you should still have water. Theoretically.
Okay. Certainly not the end of this conversation, no matter how it goes tomorrow. So
right, I think that, you know,
yeah.
depending on how it goes, if it goes that we're going to do it, I think, like I said, we just send out a notice to all the, you know, we get a list from the people that are paying waterfront taxes, send out a notice to them and tell them if, you know, if you're in fear of losing your water, you know, contact us and we'll, you know, try and work with you to get something done.
Yeah, maybe creating resources like not like a resources packet. Packet, it doesn't have to be physical. It can just be like a list of available resources in a certain area or a certain you know, part of the lake. Neighbors who simply, like how we had people who, when we were talking about testing, volunteer their boats, you know, and things like that. Just people helping out other people. So and definitely potentially accessing Casey as a resource too. You know, if us doing this now potentially saves money, perhaps maybe there's additional money to go around to mitigate some of this impact on people during the summer. So I'm not saying that's something that would happen, but certainly an ask that should be made. All right, we're about a minute over. I just want to quickly highlight something great that I think has been going on. So I'm just going to share my screen real quick. So we have, of course, been having a lot of people posting some great photos about picking up garbage that they've been finding, these enormous, you know, things around the pond, these amazing photo dumps that we've had. People just really volunteering their free time to do this stuff for free, essentially. And I just really wanted to send a shout out to every single one of you who's assisted and who's done this type of stuff and who's collected these things. You know, for the end of the year, I'm going to put something together, a collage of all of these pictures and videos, and I'll upload it all. And just wanted to send a big shout out to the group, all of the people that watch our videos, that continue to stay engaged. Like this type of stuff that you're doing, it matters a lot. And, you know, this is some awesome involvement in the community. And I couldn't be more excited and proud of this group and the community in which we all live. So, or I grew up in. So
it's on.
Awesome. Yeah, that's all I have for tonight. We did run a little bit over. I appreciate everybody's patience. Anything else quickly before we close out?
When's the next meeting?
Next meeting, we're going to be back on our regular schedule. Next meeting will most likely be the 11th, but I think I actually have a meeting that date. I do. So I cannot do the 11th. So I am going to have our next meeting be the 18th. So it'll be the 18th of December. And that will most likely, let's see, and the next Wednesday after that would be Christmas, and then January 1st. So maybe we'll have to do something in the meantime. I will be home from the 20th, the evening of the 20th, but I'll be arriving really late until the, let's see here, until the 27th. So maybe if anybody's open to it, maybe organizing like a little get together at a local place or something like that.
We'll be in Sabattus.
I'll be in Sabattus. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
No, we try to get together like we did for the eclipse.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I won't be traveling up
that
north that time. Yeah. But yeah, just something casual, no agenda, just, you know, meeting up and seeing everybody. So I will put something out for that and kind of pick a date. But yeah, should be a good time. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving.
Nick.
Yeah. Justin, Leslie, do you guys say something? No.
No, sorry. We just said that'd be great, Nick, and we look forward to seeing you when you're home.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I look forward to see all you guys too. Thanks again, and I'll have this uploaded tonight. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.